American flag, it'll be a button basically, and you press that and everything will turn into English, or it'll be like a UK flag of English or British, whatever. That's also means you push that button and everything turns to English on almost any machine that you're dealing with, around the world. Hello and welcome to Darren's Travels. On this channel we talk about traveling around the world. If you're a guy, solo, and if this is your first trip overseas, this channel will help you. Today I want to talk about something that bothered me on my very first trip when I went over to Europe, and that was how I would get around with the English levels, with the language barrier. And I remember I was really worried about that getting on a plane when I was making my connection in Europe. I didn't know if the announcements would be in Italian or in Spanish or something, and I didn't understand it. So, but I want to tell you that no matter where you are in the world, almost any airline that you're on, there's going to be announcements. There'll be announcements in the national language or the local language, but there will also be an announcement in English almost 80% of the time, 90% of the time. I can't think of a flight that I've been on where they didn't repeat the thing repeat the announcements in English. We're lucky. English is kind of like the world language, I guess. But so don't worry about that. Same thing with like ATM machines and kiosk machines and train tickets, things like that. Every time you do a self-service machine, there's always going to be an option to switch it from the local language to English. Usually, and you can switch it to 10 or 12 different languages most of the time, but you'll see the American flag, it'll be a button basically, and you press that and everything will turn into English, or it'll be like a UK flag of English or British, whatever. That's also means you push that button and everything turns to English on almost any machine that you're dealing with, around the world. Especially like I said, the ATM machine, and any type of kiosk that you need. So that's, again, so don't worry about English levels when you're traveling. You'll be fine if you speak English. And also, people you come across with, most people know a little bit of English, and especially when you're in the tourist parts of a place, they're going to know English, and then your hotel will most likely know English. All the people who kind of deal with tourists regularly will know English all over the world. So we're lucky as English speakers. With all that said, though, I just want to say a few words about when you are traveling. Kind of be like a good tourist, and you learn a few words of the language, like maybe like hi or bye or thank you, things like that. That's what I try to learn. Everywhere I go, just those 3 words. The only place I didn't try at all was when I was in Budapest, Hungary, because the Hungarian language just seems so hard to me, so I don't think I even tried. But everywhere else I've ever been, I try to learn hi, bye, and I also would ask like the hotel front desk, what's like the regular way to say hi or bye or whatever, as opposed to like the book way. And then also that's another way to strike up a conversation with, pretty girls when you're out and about. You can kind of ask them, I know how to say this in, your language or whatever, but what's kind of like the real, the cool way to say it, I guess. And so you strike up a conversation that way. And I mentioned before, and I'll put it up in the card when I was talking about the English levels with the prettiest girls in the world when you're in the bars and the clubs and things like that. Don't worry about trying to learn the language before you go. There's just no way that you're going to learn the language to a high enough level to communicate within, a month or 6 weeks. And so don't even try to learn it. I have so much respect for people in foreign countries who've learned English. Learning a language is so hard. Again, to get to that high level anyway, it's super, super hard. And so for the people who you meet, and you'll meet these people too, when you're in Europe and you're in Belgium or somewhere, you'll meet people who know like 6 languages, like fluent. And so it's just so impressive how they know so many languages. And I know it's us here in America. One, we're lucky that the world kind of uses English, but in America we don't know many languages. You know, maybe we know Spanish or whatever, but it's because, you know, we're separated by those two big oceans of, you know, the Atlantic and the Pacific or whatever. So so we don't get exposed to all the different languages like they do in Italy. I mean, you meet a girl in Switzerland and she probably knows 8 languages relatively well. So again, so don't even worry about trying to get to a high level when you travel, but just try to, you know, show some respect for the place and just use a few words. So anyways, I will leave the next video about, like I said, what I was talking about, the highest level of English level, or the low level of English for the hottest girls in the world. I'll leave that video. It's kind of entertaining anyway. But anyways, hope that helps. Again, if this is your first trip overseas and if you are worried about how you're going to communicate, just like I was 20 years ago, hopefully this video make you sleep a little bit easier and you can enjoy your trip. So anyways, thank you for watching and I'll see you next time. Thanks.